you ain't following the vision, you can go home, you can do whatever you need to do. But as for this house, God is fixing things up in here, and it is going to rain. It don't matter what happened before. I don't care about what happened before, mama. In this season of my life, rain is about to fall. I don't care if it's drizzle, I don't care if it's mist. As long as God is in the midst of it all, we gon' make it, baby, we gon' make it, and it's gonna rain. Touch your neighbor and tell your neighbor it's about to rain. It can have a substantial impact on the ecosystem and agriculture of the affected region. Although droughts can persist for several years, even a short, intense drought can cause significant damage. That means just the slightest drought, it could be the slightest drought, it could be for 15 days. Somebody could die from it. You see, that's what you must understand about your worship, is a lot of people are dependent on how you get out. They're dependent on how you come out. Because if you come out better, then they'll come out better. Show you this way, I'll show you this way, I'll show you this way. There's people that depend on your worship. Show you why. In a tunnel, y'all know, we go all over the place, so, you know, you go through tunnels and bridges. I'm like, what is that? And you go over tunnels, you go under tunnels, and you go over bridges. And what happens with a tunnel and a bridge is they become the crossing over to where you get to the next place. I told you last night, you got to cross over. There's a point where you have to cross over. But what you have to do is you got to get out of the place that you're at in order to get to the place that you need to go. That means you got to cry a river. That means you need to cry about it, mourn about it, build a bridge. That means say, look, I cried about it before, but I got to get over it. You cry a river, you build a bridge, and you walk over it. What a tunnel and a bridge does is it is connecting two places, and you have somewhere to go. And in a tunnel or on a bridge, if one person stops, everybody behind you stops. That means that somebody's dependent on how you make it. Somebody's dependent on how you reach the finish line. And that's why you can't be too selfish with what God gave you, because He gave it to you so you can help somebody else. And that's why some of us is selfishly blessed. And that's why God ain't blessing us no more, because we ain't sharing the wealth with nobody. We know all the ins and outs to get people jobs, but we see people in church dying of hunger. And we ain't trying to help them. And then we know how to get the kids into the right school, but we rather them go through the messed up school system just because we don't want them to look better than us. And that's wrong with church people. We too worried about who's looking better than who and who's dressing like who and all these things. If you got it, you got to help somebody. If you got it, you better give it. God strategically placed you next to the neighbor that's beside you simply because He's saying, whatever you get tonight, baby, I'ma get it. Whatever you get, just because you sit next to each other, we gonna get it. Because I'm connected to you. What happens is it starts to become a clog. It becomes clogged, Brother Ben. And you're wondering what's happening, because you realize that traffic is going in, but traffic is not coming out. But I realized that after every tunnel and bridge, there's a tow truck. And I said, I've been traveling to New York a long time. And each and every time I go over that bridge or I go under that tunnel, I see a tow truck. And what that tow truck does is, I looked it up, so don't think I'm talking crazy, I looked it up. What the tow truck does is, the tow truck man is getting paid $27 to $30 an hour to sit outside of the bridge or the tunnel and see how the flow of traffic goes. Y'all ain't ready, y'all missed it already. So, traffic is going in, but nothing is coming out. And if at 5 o'clock no traffic is coming out, tow truck man realized we got a problem. Because 5 o'clock is rush hour, and that's when the traffic should be coming out slow, it should be moving slow, and he can't even get up the tunnel if anything happened. But what his job is to do is sit outside the tunnel and look to see if the flow of traffic is wrong. So when you done broke down in there and people don't look down behind you, there's somebody that's waiting outside that's saying, wow, I thought they was going to come out of this thing. I thought they was going to come out of this thing. But let me tell you about God, and let me tell you how God does. What that tow truck's job is to do is he starts up his engine, he puts it in drive, and he goes up the one way. Come here, come here, come here. Somebody come here, come here, come here. What the tow truck does, come here, come here. What the tow truck does is while you are stuck in here, he's just looking in, wondering what's going on. And what he does is he comes up the one way and he turns around and he hooks you up and he puts you on his shoulder and he says, we're going out of this thing, we're coming out of this thing, we're coming out of this thing. I came by here to tell somebody there's a tow truck on the way. Your troubles are about to be over. It's about to rain in your life. You might have been stopped right now. Devil might have had you down a little bit comfortable. But baby, there's a tow truck at the end of the tunnel. There's a tow truck that's on the way. And when the tow truck comes, the tow truck isn't turning you from where you came from. The tow truck is taking you to where you need to go. It don't take you back home, but it takes you to the nearest mechanic so you can fix yourself back up and get to where you need to go. I came by here to tell somebody there's a tow truck on the way and it's going to rain in your life. Because when my time comes, when God gets ready and the rain starts to fall, I'm going to need an umbrella for the amount of rain that's going to fall in my life. I'm going to need an umbrella not to protect me, but just because so much rain is going to fall, I don't want to get too wet. But Lord, even if it's me, let the rain fall. Lord, tonight at 19 Locust Avenue, let the rain fall. Tonight, somebody touch your neighbor. Tell your neighbor, say neighbor, it's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. You might not see it or feel it, but baby, if I feel it, you connected to me, and it's gonna rain. Touch somebody and tell them my drought is over. There's a tow truck. There's a tow truck. There's a tow truck at the end